Well, welcome back to the channel, guys. If you are new here, my name is Roger, and I am designing and building a Miden Supercar from scratch. This is the current state of the car. You can see we are making body panels, and we're maybe a third of the way finished. Let's take a look at what I've been working on the last few days. First off, you may notice my voice is probably strange. I've had a cold, a really bad cold or something for the last almost 2 weeks. For 1 week of it, I was sick enough I didn't even touch the car. Just starting to feel good enough for the last 2 or 3 days to work on it a little. In the last video where we were making both the left and the right side here, which is the door glass area. This is the door glass that rolls up and down, and this is like a fake quarter window. This is the driver's side. Started sanding on this. It has the first coat of Handbuilt primer. The passenger side is finished, and actually I made a part this morning. It is in the oven right now, curing. It is about 2 hours into a 6-hour cure, so the part will be finished here this afternoon, and I'll take it out and see if we have a successful part or not. I was planning on making this one also at the same time in one weekend, but when I got sick and didn't work on it for a week, this one fell behind. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to be able to make it this weekend or not. This is a long weekend. It's a holiday weekend, and it is Saturday afternoon. I might be able to finish this and make a part Monday, which is holiday, but most likely I won't get it done. There's a lot of sanding, block sanding and wet sanding left to finish this, so we'll see. If it carries on into next week, it won't be a big deal. Also, I've started making a new mold here for the driver's side quarter panel, which we had a unsuccessful part. The part looked terrible that we made, so we're having to remake that, which means making a new mold. This is the biggest piece of the mold, and it is finished. I just took it off the CNC yesterday. I have this part glued up. This is the part number 2 of the mold, or piece number 2. It's a 4-part mold in total. This is ready to go on the CNC machine, and I'm going to carry it up now and get it started cutting. I need to go ahead and cut the pieces for part number 3 or block number 3 and get them gluing up tonight so it can go into the CNC either tomorrow or Monday as soon as this part comes off. And try to get this mold started gluing together here in the next couple of days and try to get it ready to start finishing it. So once we get this part here made and out of the oven, hopefully in just a few days later, I'll have this quarter panel mold ready to go. And once we have these remaining pieces, I should have enough pieces made to start mounting and fitting body panels. We should have the entire rear half of the car done, except for some small pieces here in the door jamb areas, which I am working on the computer currently. Those will wrap up here in just a few days, and then I need these rocker panel pieces here for the sides also, but they're pretty simple. Just need to work out the detail of how the door is going to seal against it. That's the only complicated part. But brings you up to speed of what I've been working on the last few days. Like I said, I took a week off because I was sick and I just could not work on the car. But we'll see if we can catch back up on that week here in the next few days. I have a lot of irons in the fire, as you can see, parts being made left and right. So as long as we can keep up the pace of having parts on the CNC, parts gluing together here, parts finishing here, and then other parts in the oven curing, it's kind of like an assembly line. It makes things move a lot faster. But let me get busy CNCing some more pieces, and then I'll get busy starting to block sand this and work it down, and I'll check back with you guys as soon as I have something else to show you. Well, here's a little update for you this morning. Made this part yesterday and removed it from the mold this morning, and it looks okay. It's got a few places on it I'll need to touch up just a little. It looks kind of rough right now because of all of the excess flanges on it that need to be removed. Need to trim this out and clean it up real good and take a better look at it. But I believe this part is usable, at least I think so, until we made it up to all of the other parts and see how they align. Also, piece number 2 of this quarter panel mold came off the CNC this morning. It is finished, and I have piece number 3 on the CNC cutting right now. So I guess let me get this part trimmed out and cleaned up real well and let's take another look at it and see what it looks like. And then I need to get busy sanding on this other part, or the opposite hand side of that. And I really need to get this part block sanded and cleaned up and primed again this weekend at a minimum. So let's see how far along I can get on these two items. Okay, so I trimmed this part out and I have it sitting up here close to where it goes. You can see how it somewhat aligns with everything. And it's not pushed up tight there. It's closer. And this is where it seams here. The front fender will mate up to that, and there'll be a body seam there. And most likely I will weld a piece of steel here on this tube to bolt those two pieces to that tube, make sure everything stays in place. There are a couple of rough spots on this that I'll need to touch up, but I believe I will take and instead of using like a Bondo to fix these little spots, I think I'm going to use my epoxy and Q-cells like I'm doing on the mold. I believe that will stick to this epoxy and be stronger and harder to turn loose. I think it will make a nice filler, and it's not too hard to sand and work in, get it close enough to use high build primer for a finish. But I don't have any of this aligned correctly, but you can see there's joints here where this will glue and bolt together. Same thing down the top here, there's a seam where it will glue and bolt together. There's a 1-inch flange on the inside, so it's plenty wide enough to put some bolts or machine screws across there, and several places to hold it together. Now, one thing I did goof up on, I don't know what happened exactly, but definitely it was my mistake. I went back and checked on the files. This should have been flush with this for the lip to glue the windshield in, and for some reason I have it sitting quite a bit too low. So I thought about this, and what I'm going to do to salvage this is I'll scribe a line here even with this all the way down, and I'll cut this part off, and I'll remove the excess area, and I'll raise it to the right height and glue it back in. It'll give me a lot of glue surface back in there to make sure that's glued securely. And then I'll have to glue in around this area where the two intersect, probably on the front and the back side, to make sure that is sealed off very securely so there won't be any water leaks in the future. But I knew I'd have to trim and fit this and glue it. That was always part of the plan. And then I'll have to body filler this seam to get rid of it and smooth all that out. But it gives you a visual kind of what it will look like. There's a lot of fitting and trimming up in here. This flange will get removed. There'll be another internal flange that glues in place I need to make later. It will have like a U shape, and then the rubber will go on the top of the inside U and push down in that, and that will be the seal up against the hatch all the way around for a water seal. Just trying to give you a visual here what the shape looks like. Of course, I don't have anything sitting. I've got it jacked up over here on the corner because it was hitting the roll bar. A lot of trimming and fitting left to do to get this exactly right, but hopefully all this will align and look good. I haven't seen anything so far that tells me that it won't work. My biggest fear right now is getting this hatch to fit in the opening and align and look straight, but we'll just have to see how that works out when I get there. As close as I can measure, I think it's going to work. Right now, of course, there's a big gap here, but there's a gap here that needs to close. This is a tiny gap, which should be about 1/8 of an inch all the way across here. When I close this up, that'll close part of this, and it should leave 1/8 gap across here all the way. So we'll see how all that works out. Worst case scenario is I have to do some trimming or fitting or something of the hatch, or even building up around the edge just a tiny bit, but we'll see. Long way to go before we get there, but this looks pretty good. At least I don't see anything that scares me yet. Still need to make the piece here that comes down. It'll come over to here and glue to here, and then down and glue at the bottom, and that'll leave an opening here for an air intake, and that'll wrap around and be our door jamb. Leave an opening here for the post for the door to lock in place, It has several steps in it for the door to seal into and the rubber to have a place to ride against. And then I need to make this rocker panel piece. And I'll make it long and trim it to fit. Not quite sure how the shape of that's going to work yet. Have some ideas, but nothing final. Been thinking about this a lot. There's a lot going on here with the way this door needs to seal, the way the rubber needs to seal against the door jamb and be airtight, and then the way the door glass here needs to seal against all the rubbers and also be airtight, which is going to be a challenge. Been dreading this part of the car build the most of anything because I know how hard it's going to be to get all this to seal correctly. And here are the door rubbers. I've been kind of holding them up in place just to look what they would, to see what they would look like. When we hold this up here in place, you can see there's a little rubber flap here that's supposed to hide the body line. So that'll sit right on this body line and close all that off. Now this flange is way too long. I need to trim it back to where this rubber comes up here more like this and almost closes off flush here. It'll be inset just ever so slightly. Now this goes up, of course, a lot higher, but it's hitting. I need to trim the excess off the top of this rubber here. So I was leaving it till last. I'll also have to trim some off the bottom here to get this to fit right. But I knew all that going in. It's just going to take some time to get this correct. But anyway, that brings you up to speed on what this looks like. I need to get busy sanding on this mold here. I started on it yesterday. I got about maybe halfway done. Skimmed some body filler in places on the little tiny rough spots. I need to sand all this back out and finish this area and this area up in here. Try to get this ready for the second coat of primer this afternoon if the rain stops. Right now it's raining pretty hard. I think it's going to let up this afternoon, hopefully enough for me to shoot the second coat of primer on this. I need to get that done today if possible. But anyway, that brings you up to speed, and I'll touch base with you guys again shortly. Alright, so here is this mold for the driver's quarter panel. And this is the first three parts of the mold laying here. I haven't glued them all together yet. And the fourth part is on the CNC cutting, and the fourth part is a small piece that fills in the void area here, and an even smaller piece that fills in this area. And it should be cutting tomorrow, and I can start gluing all of this up and brushing a coat of epoxy and Q-cells on it, and then get started finishing this mold. But before that mold is finished, this one is ready, other than just a couple of little spots here I need to sand, just last minute additions of putty. And then I need to get a second coat of primer on this, which I was hoping to do today, but it has rained all day long. It is still raining. It's supposed to rain, actually it's supposed to rain for the next 4 days, but I am hoping to get a break in the weather somewhere long enough to spray a coat of primer on this, which would take 10 or 15 minutes. It's pretty quick, but I need it to be not raining, and it has either been raining hard or at least misting rain all day long. And we'll just see if I can get a break or not. But as soon as I get a break, I will shoot the second coat of primer on this, and we can go ahead and knock this out and finish it and have it ready to make a mold. It is Tuesday, so I am hoping to have this ready to make a part either Saturday or Sunday. And then once this part is completed, if it goes well, we'll be on to finishing this mold and trying to get it ready to make a part on it. Hopefully the following weekend, if not maybe 2 weeks away. Just depends on how long it takes me to wrap this up. This is quite a bit of sanding and finishing. It's a pretty large mold, at least for me. So we're going to start gluing these pieces together as soon as I get this other side, the driver's side door glass area made. I want to have it made first, and then we'll start gluing all of these components together. First I'll glue the two door glass area sides to the roof, and then we'll glue the two quarter panels to that. And once all of that is glued together as one big assembly, then I can start aligning it to the correct position and then mounting it to the car, which is going to be fun but tedious. I need to get that in the exact location because there won't be any second chances. So if we start off correctly, and hopefully it won't be a big deal to get it mounted in all the correct positions or locations, and hopefully it'll turn out nice. But we'll see how all this goes, hopefully in the next few weeks. And I guess that's going to be about it for this week's video, and I'll see you guys again in a few weeks.